This is
The Science Lens,
the Faculty of Science podcast at the University of Manitoba. Together, let's discover the unknown and invent the future. Hello, I'm your host, Kimia Shatkami, Faculty of Science, Digital Content and Communications Lead, and a proud alum with a Master's in Computer Science. In each episode, we take a closer look at the research, innovation, student experience, and the people who shape the future of science right here at the Faculty of Science in the University of Manitoba. Whether you're a student, a researcher, or simply science curious, you're in the right place. Today, I am joined by co-host Nicole Amiot, Faculty of Science Events Coordinator. Nicole has been with the faculty since 2022 with years of experience in communications and community engagement. Her background includes a bachelor's in communications and a master of arts in cultural studies. Nicole, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I will say that Kimia sees me every day. So on a more exciting note, we are also joined today by Dr. Erwin Heubner, Professor Emeritus of Biological Sciences and Artist in Residence at the School of Art at the University of Manitoba. His career bridges cell biology and the arts, where he explores the hidden beauty of the microscopic world through photography, printmaking, and artist books. Over his nearly 5 decades here at UM, Erwin taught and led in many roles, including head of biology, acting head of biological sciences, and acting associate dean of research. Erwin's artwork has been exhibited internationally, from solo shows here at UM to group exhibitions at Oxford University and the Society of Bookbinders in the UK. He has also created commissioned pieces for the Faculty of Science, the University of Manitoba, and even Nobel laureate Dr. James Peebles. And we also have another guest here, Nishita, a third-year Bachelor of Science student majoring in psychology here at the University of Manitoba. She is currently the Director of Special Events for the Science Students Association, where she coordinates and supports faculty-wide events that bring the science student community together. In addition to her role with SSA, she has been involved in leadership positions, such as serving as a resident advisor at the University of Manitoba and as Pan-Hellenic President for sororities here on campus, where she collaborated on community events and student support initiatives. Looking ahead, I'm sure she'll tell you more about it, she hopes to pursue a career that merges psychology, women's health, and social impact with a focus on research, advocacy, and innovative approaches to improving healthcare and well-being. Awesome stuff. So I guess we'll start hopefully with a somewhat easy one. Do you remember your first class, whether that's teaching or being taught here at UM? Erwin, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I was hired in December 1972 and had to give my first lectures in January in the course called histology. And while I had some experience in histology, it was challenging to actually develop a course from scratch. But it went very well, and the students were really supportive, and I enjoyed it.
Do you remember what building that was in?
That was in the Duff Roblin building.
That's where our offices are at the moment. That's so exciting.
Yeah, current home of the Faculty of Science Dean's Office.
My first class, I think, was in Fletcher Argue. It was a bio course because I was going to major in bio at the time. And I'm not sure. One of my first experiences or impressions of campus was when I moved in, because I live in residences and I've been there since I moved to Canada. And I was just so excited to walk around the quad and the main University of Manitoba building. It was just so cool. It was like my first moment of independence and freedom, living away from family. So I was so incredibly excited to just even go to all my classes. It felt like such a feat. So yeah.
We feel the awe every day when we come to campus. It's so pretty. Speaking of that, did you ever get lost on campus?
Always. I got lost today. We were preparing for a scavenger hunt that we're hosting for incoming science students and freshmen, and we're using my horrible navigation skills as a great standpoint for new students because they're going to have a hard time navigating because it's a new campus. But I always get lost, especially, transitioning from tunnels to outside. And when you're in a rush. So I always tend to get lost, but I'm getting better. I've started going on walks around campus. So yeah.
Did you ever get lost, Erwin?
No, I found the campus fairly easy to navigate.
Good.
That's
Do you
great.
have any tips for those who get lost?
What's that?
Do you have any tips for those who get lost?
No, there's maps around in various places, mostly in the tunnels.
that's
And
true.
the other is just to ask somebody.
Yeah, 100%. I
That can
find
be nerve-wracking at times.
I'm always kind of excited when the new students start in the fall and want to know where things are. And I'm like, yes, I can help you.
That's true. Erwin, how has your experience been creating artwork that represents, the university, the people that are in it, and the work that is happening on campus?
Well, that's an interesting question because there are many facets to science. And when I do art pieces, a number of which are artist books that have a scientific basis, I'll be interested in I'll either have heard a lecture or a seminar by somebody, and I said, gee, that's pretty fascinating, and I'll do some literature research and then decide what structure an art book might be that would feature that work. And so I did one book, for example, on migration of Arctic terns. And the book itself had the spine made out of the keel of a goose and pages in the book, and actually had text that told the story. So even though I don't work on Arctic terns, I did the homework to find out about it. Another similar book was on, because it's relevant to Winnipeg, was Dutch elm disease. And Dr. Reed, who was in the botany department, was an expert on Dutch elm disease. So I did a lot of research on that and did a book which had elmwood as the covers. And then books that related more to my own work were using microscope imaging as an art form, and then having the books basically display the photographs, some of which would be described and some were just to be viewed as an artistic piece. And some of them, for example, more recently have been about wood and looking at the histology of wood, taking images of slides, histological slides, which are beautiful patterns, and they're making books where the covers are made from different exotic woods and bound in a way that the book opens flat, which is a Coptic binding technique. So it's a combination of the text, the imagery, deciding what format would be appropriate. Sometimes it's a Coptic binding, sometimes it's a concertina book that just opens up like an accordion, or can be displayed either opening single pages or the whole thing. I did a book for the School of Art as a fundraiser that was all about botany. And I have a whole series of electron micrograph images of different plants that I've taken. And so the book has all these black and white images from the scanning EM of plants. And along the text, along the bottom of the entire length of the book, are the names of botanists from Greek times to modern times.
Oh, wow.
That is so cool.
So,
really
so there's a
beautiful.
lot of variety. It all depends on what inspires me.
That's true. And then if somebody wants to look at or, even just a beginner friendly way of, I want to take some cool photos of, different woods and, microscopic images on campus. Where on campus should they go to look at, cool
Your work.
nature?
Well, as artist in residence at the School of Art, I set up a number of years ago an imaging studio using older microscopes that people in science were no longer finding particularly useful. And so I set up a studio there. It's called an imaging lab that I oversee and teach people. And they can either use film cameras or digital cameras and image. And then I also have a collection of hundreds of different kinds of microscope slides, be they wood or sections of the human body, liver, pancreas, brain. And so I taught a grad course at the School of Art last year, which was all about how to image with different techniques for one of the MFA students. And then I've helped the occasional science student that needed some advice on how to image. I used to teach a course in science for many, many years called Microtechnique. And that course was all about how to prepare biological tissues for viewing them under the microscope. And I taught how to use electron microscopes, light microscopes.
That's also fascinating.
So Nishita, the imaging studio might be the coolest new place I've heard about on campus today.
Yeah,
What's your favorite spot on campus that people might not have heard of?
That's a hard one. I think it fluctuates. It depends on what I'm trying to do, right? I think if you want a quiet study spot, the third floor of Defoe Library in the Icelandic study room is such a beautiful spot to be. They've got little museum-like exhibits. I think they're considered art exhibits, right? They've got little art exhibits, so it's really, really fun to look at. It's really interesting to look at. And then just even like study space-wise, it's such a beautiful scenery. It's always quiet.
It's so peaceful.
I know. And it's such a nice getaway spot, honestly, to go study.
That's one of my favorite places too.
Yes.
It goes across years and generations. It's a really, really unique spot. We talked about like favorite science buildings or favorite places on campus, but like, is there a hidden gem that you kind of want to gatekeep and not tell people so it doesn't get busy?
But also please tell us.
But also tell us and everybody else right now.
I don't know how hidden or known this is. I feel like some people know about it, but the Wallace Museum with all the minerals and the dinosaur skeletons. I was so excited when I first found that spot because it has a vibe unlike any other, and it's never too crowded because I feel like it's so far away from, the main university center and all those areas that you really have to venture out there a little bit, especially in the winter times. But it's such a cool spot. And even for bio students, they have, I'm not exactly sure what it's called, but when it's imprinted into like the stones, like all the like different animals and stuff like that, they have like
Fossils.
yes, well, fossils, but well, yes, I guess so.
They are fossils, yeah.
Yeah,
So cool.
and it's so incredibly cool. And like you have to learn them all in intro bio, so I feel like for an intro bio student, it would be so cool to go see all the different species that they had to memorize, fossilize. So it's really cool.
I think when we do Science Rendezvous, that's where the kids get super excited, and then the parents too.
Well, because even when the museum's closed, you can just walk down the hallway and, I mean, I don't know if everyone else is excited about this, but like looking at all of the rocks and the gems and the...
We
It's
call
so
it
cool.
the rocks. That was really, really lovely. What about you, Erwin?
Well, the Duff Rutland building used to have a beautiful museum with all kinds of specimens. People would come from all over the city to visit, and from the School of Art would come to do drawings. But unfortunately, that got got disbanded, so it no longer exists. But that was a real treasure. The other, I agree that Geology Museum is neat. The administration building, not because it has collections, but architecturally is really cool because of the history. And that's true to some extent of the Buller building as well, which are, some of the older buildings. And of the modern buildings, the unique building is Art Lab, the glass building. That's actually won some international art awards. And more recently, the new concert hall behind Taché, the School of Music, that was also has won architectural awards. So those are some a lot of people don't know about the new concert hall because it's kind of tucked in the back.
Have you guys seen it? I haven't.
The inside is spectacular for music. Beautiful concert hall.
Yeah, they recently hosted TED in there, but I didn't get a chance to stop by. I would say another hidden gem I discovered while going on a walk is a garden. It's part of Migizi Akademik, and it's got a beautiful, beautiful space. And they've got like a little area for a fire pit, beautiful benches, and it's just such a beautiful place to sit down, watch the sunset, have some tea, and they have their sage gardens nearby. So it's such a peaceful spot on campus. Like you wouldn't think you're on a college campus. So it's a really nice getaway.
So the concert hall, one of the people that donated a lot of money for building it was Michael Nesbitt, who supports a lot of things at the university. And the university commissioned me to make a gift for him as a thank you. And I made a carousel book that featured pictures of Taché, some music that was a favorite of Michael Nesbitt's, and I had all the architectural drawings of before they built the concert hall. So this book, which looks like a carousel,
That's so neat.
was an example of an artist book
Beautiful.
that was done related to buildings on campus.
Yeah.
What an incredibly special thing to be able to give them.
That is one of my favorite.
And Michael loved it.
That is one of my favorite pieces of your work on your website. I've looked at everything.
So we love the new buildings as well, but just jumping right back to old buildings for 1 second. Erwin, we know that you know a lot of history about the University of Manitoba and its buildings. What would you say is the most interesting historical fact, or maybe something weird about the Faculty of Science buildings?
Perhaps the Buller building because of its history, and Reginald Buller was one of the first faculty members in science. But Buller was then quite disillusioned with the university. And when he died, his ashes were put in a container that was in the federal government building that was on campus that's now no longer there. And when they tore that building down, they retrieved his ashes.
Oh my gosh.
And that urn or that stand in front of the Buller building that says, "This is the Buller building," about Reginald Buller, his ashes are in that.
Yeah.
That is like,
So that's kind of a cool bit of history.
did you know that?
I did not know that.
I
We
love
host
it.
so many things in Buller.
I love seeing people's reaction when they first find out about it, because I had a very similar reaction. It's one of the best ones about things on campus.
That's neat. So do you think he'd be unimpressed about that?
He might have had some thoughts. I mean, he was one of the first 6 professors that created the Faculty of Science.
Oh, wow. Do you have any cool facts like that about campus? Or
I feel so out of the loop. Honestly, I'm not too well versed on history. The most historical fact or myth that I hear running around every winter is just, this tunnel is haunted. This tunnel is haunted. The haunted tunnel on the way to University College is all anyone talks about. Which is why I made it a point to walk outside today. But not
They are
much of a
creepy.
historical fact.
yeah, that's true.
Delta Marsh is part of the university, and there's a log cabin there, and supposedly it has a ghost living in it.
This is very on brand with Halloween being so close when we're publishing this. My next question is kind of, because when people are listening to this, they come as folks who have been here for a long time or who have just joined the university. So Nishita, you can talk to us about from like a student perspective. Erwin, you can tell us from a kind of a faculty staff perspective. But what is one place that you think new folks on campus should check out, like in the first week when they're here? So much pressure.
Should I tackle this first?
Go for
Sure.
I would say, as intimidating as it may seem, to honestly explore every area of University Center. It's such a hot spot. And I know, like, even now going into my 4th year, I've been here for a while, it can be a lot when there's so many students, right? But it's also such an exciting time. During that first week, there's so many events going on. There's so many freebies, free breakfast, free slushies, free cotton candy. Oh my gosh, there's always something going on. But more than that, during the school year too, even without all these events, there's so many amazing resources within University Center that I think if first-year students familiarize themselves with it and just, pop by, hey, what's the Career Center about? Just little bits and pieces of information. I think they'll find that throughout their university career, it's such a lifesaver. I've had so many moments where I've had so many random questions, right? Whether it's healthcare related, I go to the clinic on campus, UHS, right? I can pop in there anytime, make an appointment, that's more of the logistics side, right? But when I have questions regarding any kind of career resource, etc., I found the Career Center to be such an amazing resource. I've had, career counselors just walk by and, overhear some of the questions I'm asking. And all of a sudden, there's someone that has specific expertise in that area, and they pull me aside and we have, an impromptu meeting. And it's been so insightful, and they have so many programs. So I would say, honestly, take advantage of the resources available in University Center, because it's such a time of huge change and transition. And it's just really hard and almost impossible to do it on your own. And so when you have so many different resources and people to help you at your disposal, I think it really alleviates the stress and anxiety, but also gets you excited because, it's so normal to feel lost and confused during this time, just, about classes, what are you going to do after, etc. And just to, speak with so many different people and their experiences and, their connections. It's just so insightful, and it makes the process so much more exciting.
I agree. We like that place so much. We take little walks to it every now and then. But that was also the place that because I was a grad student here, so I didn't know exactly, when you're a grad student, you don't exactly know what faculty you belong to. It's Faculty of Graduate Studies, but department am I more connected with? And then I found out about the 50th anniversary for the Faculty of Science, and I just happened upon it because I was in UC and I was walking around.
Yeah. I was passing by the counseling center and I ran into one of my friends, and they were hosting their company Christmas party. And, I just impromptu joined the Christmas party. I got a free lunch and I met so many new people. And now in my position in SSA, I know a few other people that work with other student groups. And it was just such a happy coincidence. And I feel like it's such a social area that if you hang around long enough, you will make friends, you will meet people that, eventually you'll cross paths with. So I feel like it's such a hot spot, and it can be so fun to just meet people in that area.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. What about you, Erwin?
Yeah, I agree with all what's been said about University Center. In addition to the inside part, there's beautiful plaza, with benches and plants, and that connects through to the engineering building as well. And a lot of students hang out in the big atrium in the engineering building. It's got a beautiful lounge and a Tim Hortons, etc. So that's another spot, even though it's a little bit more focused, but is also interesting. But University Center kind of is the hub. And through the tunnel, it also connects to the architecture building. So, it's a good kind of a conduit.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's two very nice, very social, community-focused spots.
Do you have a spot that you think everybody should explore?
I really like there's kind of a similar feeling. There's the Buller Lawn kind of just outside of the Buller building. So kind of just right near the urn of Buller's ashes, I guess. There are some benches and planters. There are times of the year when the geese do take those over, so they're not for us those times. But during the summer, especially because it is a little quieter here on campus during the summer for staff and faculty, some students, of course. But yeah, I like sitting out there and reading and sitting on the little benches and hanging out with the plants.
It's really peaceful.
Yeah. Do you have one, Kimia?
I love the SSA lounge.
Yeah.
I love the cafe in there when it's open. I am there every day when it's open, which is maybe not a positive thing for my pocket, but it's a lovely area, and students, it's a small community compared to UC, but it's also like a tighter community. They know each other. Everybody's either helping each other out or explaining something or just hanging out and having conversations. I really love that area. Yeah.
I know Nishita and I both host events in that space, so we have a fondness for it as well.
I think as our last question, would like to know if you have noticed how campus has changed since you first started, and I know it's different for either of you, and what is the one thing that stands out to you the most? I
guess there's been more of an attempt to reconnect the green spaces on campus. At times frustrating with all the construction going on, and the new buildings, I mean, one of the interesting things about this campus is the diversity of structures of all the buildings. Like some campuses have buildings that all are on the same architectural style. So I've had visitors come to do research from the States in my lab over the years, and it's the one thing that always strikes them. And they say, what a beautiful campus because of the diversity of buildings. And so you have like Art Lab, which is very contemporary looking. And then you just walk across the street and there's the Tier building, which is, historic. And of course, the admin building in the center of campus. And, the phys ed complex and, that whole area. So it's all the variety. I think makes it kind of interesting.
That's true. That has changed over time for sure.
I think in my 4 years here, I think there's definitely a lot of construction going on, especially with McCrae Hall as a science student. It's been shut for the past 2 years. But it's really nice seeing all the renovations, even the smaller renovations happening from time to time, right? It really gives you an opportunity to explore new places as well, right? If you're a frequenter at McCrae Hall, here's a new opportunity to explore different libraries and different study spaces on campus. And I've had the opportunity to explore some new study spots and actually make new friends in those areas as well. I started frequenting engineering library and I've met so many cool people there. I've met spouses of students that are just hanging out there waiting for, their spouse to finish up their class. And, I've got to hear different stories and, all of this just while studying. So it's been a really interesting way to socialize and explore new spaces on campus. And I would say the diversity and the variety, really is the cherry on top, because when you go to different spaces, you will see people who frequent that area most, right? So I've had the opportunity to study in Asper so many times, and I've made friends who study business and are in such a different field of study than me. But I think the diversity really speaks to the diversity of the students. And I think that's what makes University of Manitoba and our faculty and just overall this province so special, is just the diversity of so many different personalities and different people from different walks of life. So I really enjoy doing that.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful. For me, I think the SSA courtyard was being built, I think, the year I started my master's. So that was really pretty, and it's such a beautiful space. And I know it has also won award for architecture. I really love that space too.
I can't believe that was a recent addition. I thought that was there all the time.
There's a whole time lapse of it being built on our YouTube channel that you can watch.
Oh my
you can just
gosh.
see that it was a blank space, and then all of a sudden there's a beautiful courtyard there.
Yeah, the people in landscape architecture were quite excited to be involved with that.
So I didn't have the privilege of being a student here, but I have worked here for almost 3 years. One of the really positive changes is that I know the Wawate Indigenous Science program now has their own space in the Allen building. And that actually is a really neat building as well. There's also kind of like old physics apparati that you can look at. But yeah, just getting to explore all the diverse spaces, as everyone's kind of indicated. It's a really cool community and a really cool set of buildings.
That is a really neat space. And the help centers right beside it, those are really cool spaces too for students. Okay, we are at our rapid fire questions. So we're going to ask you 4 questions. One me, one Nicole, and you just say the first thing that comes to your mind. And that's it. We're going to say the first thing that comes to our mind too. We're going to pretend we don't know these questions. Okay. So first one, coffee on campus.
Colosimo.
The Science Lounge, Starbucks.
Okay.
SSA Lounge for sure.
I'm going to go with degrees.
Ooh.
Don't go for me. Short mental health walk.
Behind engineering, that trail that leads to Helen Glass Center, and then it wraps around the Active Living Center, that entire circle area.
Oh, that's a big one.
I guess I'd wander around the center of the campus, where all the benches and the little parks are.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I would say out on the White Castle lawn, kind of out near the river.
That's pretty. I'll just circle around Duff Roblin.
It's great too sometimes.
Last two for you.
Best spot to sit outside and decompress.
By the river behind Asper, they have a bunch of structures out there as well, and it's so fun to play around in there.
Probably in front of Duff Roblin where the castle is.
In front of Buller, actually. You're reading a spot. I'm taking it.
I'm sharing it with you. Longest tunnel walk you've ever done?
From University Center all the way through Buller, through University College, out to Uranus Bister, and into Asper.
Yes.
So from Asper and Tier, all the way through to University Center and then on to the Phys Ed building.
That is long. I think the longest I've ever taken was from Arms all the way to Asper. I had a meeting.
I want to say same. Yeah. Quite the pathway system under there.
Thank you so much. This was so lovely. Thank you so much for such a wonderful conversation. We really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much. I had so much fun and learned so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, of course. Thank you. It was really an honor to have you here and kind of learn from you and from your perspective on campus. Your experience with campus means a lot, really.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. I was so excited to share, my experiences on campus. As an avid podcast listener, I was very excited to be invited on. So, just really excited to share my experiences here.
Thank you. Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
That's a wrap on episode 2. Thank you all so much for listening. If you like this episode, please follow us and give us a review. Stay tuned for the upcoming episodes in this season. We will be covering topics from student experience beyond the classroom to breaking down complex scientific topics. Thank you to everybody who was in this episode with us. And thank you to our multimedia and content specialist behind the camera, Kim Pakamalan. Until the next episode, remember to discover the unknown and invent the future.